All right, so we're going to hand it off to Jeremy, who's going to surprise us because a lot of us, when we think about, was it Upwork? We
It
think
was Upwork.
about low value, Pakistani, Indian, $5 an hour job opportunities or project opportunities. And Jeremy's going to tell us how those are, you could find the $300 an hour opportunities. I don't know, 300. That may be stretching it.
I've seen people bid at 300. I don't know if they're successful enough, but
All right.
yeah, well, thank you for that, Michael. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm going to start my timer because I appreciate it. I'm on the clock here, so there we go.
Right. And you can, I'm going to start the timer too, and you can certainly, I've made the screen available for you to share.
Okay,
if you like.
well, I will do that. Let me just
And I'll let you know at the 10-minute mark in case. How do you want to do it with terms of questions?
Well, I thought we'd go talk for 10 and then 5 for questions.
That works.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got the grid showing. I don't know if that.
Yeah,
intentional.
I'm about to push a button. There we go.
Okay, good.
Cool, that works. Excellent. Yeah. Well, hi everybody. Thank you for joining this session. You are the second group of people to hear me talk about this. And so on that basis, you're officially the second group of guinea pigs, and I would love to get any feedback about how this goes. I have this really strange idea that somehow I should make money telling people about Upwork.
By the way, I'll let you know that you do have 2 areas on the screen that are blocked, probably by the.
Oh, you know what?
So you may just want to go to the non. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
No, it's this weird thing. It's a sharing. It's the presentation bar.
Oh.
And I don't know if it's just my laptop or what it is. Hang on. Hide floating panel. How's that?
Now there's 2 rectangular ones, horizontally rectangular.
How's now? There's
that's better. Now there's only one on the bottom. That's
there you go.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's a laptop thing or what it is. Okay. So yes, I felt the same as Michael. When I first was I run a small consultancy focusing on business to business technology branding. And I thought, I can't see you by the way, so I'm gonna have to assume you're nodding politely. I thought Upwork was like Fiverr. And for those who are uninitiated, Fiverr is a marketplace, and it's designed initially to help people with graphic design work. And it was the classic $5 and you'll get an infographic from someone. And the quality would vary, obviously, for $5. So I thought this thing called Upwork was a similar beast. And to some extent it is. But the reason that I wanted to share this is that I have had some success in finding project work using Upwork. And I'm relatively new. I mean, I'm sharing this relatively early on my Upwork journey, but I have been able to find a way of finding regular contracts, and it's got to a point where it's become my best source of new leads and new business. And so on that basis, I wanted to share some thinking about Upwork. So I appreciate that the clock's ticking, so I'm going to quickly go through. That's just me smiling politely. Some really quick stats on freelancing, which I discovered in researching this, which is useful. I'm not sure how many people on the call are actively freelancing or running their own businesses, but I thought I'd share these in any case. It's growing. Skilled freelancing in particular is growing. The freelance platforms, Upwork is one, is providing a great source of revenue. COVID has been a huge change agent for my business. In fact, my business was born off COVID. But there seems to be a greater willingness to engage contractors, as I said, in higher value work, which is the topic. A lot of transactions taking place on Fiverr, so that is still popular as a site. However, we're here to talk about Upwork, which has more than 17 million users. So what is an Upwork? It's a marketplace. So it's a place where you clients put business up for bid and freelancers bid for work. And I'll show you how that works at a very high level in a moment. It's helped as a professional find projects, communicate as well. It has a communication system. And the critical one here is getting paid. And I'll touch on that briefly as we go through. But it's also helpful in that side, which I know is a bane for many folks. There are more than 10,000 skills. So refining your profile is actually very important. Again, I'll cover that in detail. And there are a huge amount of categories available as well. So even if you think it's not for me or for my business, you might be surprised, both as a potential client who's putting work out there, but also as a potential contractor as well. The most popular categories are listed there. The one that I'm spending my time in is really on the consulting side. But as you'll discover, sometimes you're finding work on this platform from unexpected places. And that comes down to the way that people talk about the jobs that are available, which I'll touch on as I go through as well. Okay, 145,000 active core clients. What that means is the clients that are spending more than $5,000 a year on Upwork, which doesn't sound like much, but when 30% of the Fortune 100 companies are using this as a service, you start to get a sense of what the potential could be. They're spending money. How the Upwork works is they take a cut from the client fee when the clients put the ads on the platform, and I'll show you what that looks like in a moment, and also from the freelancers or contractors. And so the way that works is they'll take a percentage, 20% of the first $500 of any project, and then, like your taxes, the amount they take decreases over time. Oh, sorry, over value. Bunch of people using it, and larger engagements. And by larger engagements, again, are those companies that are spending more than $5,000. Okay, real quick, clock's ticking. Here's how it works. The clients post jobs. There are two types of jobs, either fixed price, which is based on a series of milestones that you commit to during the contracting process, or there's an hourly rate as well. And they've got a little app you can run, and I'll show you in a moment, that takes little screenshots of you as you're taking or performing the work, so people, I guess, can see work's being done. The freelancers then post, you bid for the work and get hired. There are two things you can do to increase your chance of being hired. One is boosting, and which is, I'll show you in a moment. And the other one is a bid range, which again gives you a sense of how other people are bidding for work. There's a chat function as well, so you can talk to your potential clients. The UI is not great. And sometimes you can get called into an instant meeting, which can be dangerous. And the great thing I found about this is simplified payment through the platform. And as someone, and I guess if other folks are contracting as well, payment is one of the great banes. One of the nice things about this system is you get paid every 2 weeks based on the hours worked. I think there's a 10-day delay from work performed to payment, or you're paid on completion of a milestone. And so it's a really simple way to get paid. And so there's no chasing for invoices or anything like that. Okay, let's switch into a demo. Okay. That one. Oh. There we go. Okay. And okay. So I'm just trying to get rid of this little black box thing again. Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's.
What we see is it looks like a corner, upper right corner of a screen expanded very large. It says
okay.
It's PowerPoint, but we don't see much.
Well, that's not what you meant to see. Let me try it again. New share. Oh, I see what that is. It's a PowerPoint. Okay, how's that?
Oh yeah. Okay.
We're good. And I'll get rid of that
Yep.
box again. Hide floating meeting controls. Okay. So you should now see the Upwork screen. This is the screen that I spend my happy days on, or enough of my time on. And essentially, these are the jobs that are posted. As you'll see, there are a range of different filters and things. I'm not going to go through that today, but there are ways that you can refine your search so it's more relevant for you. I've done as much refining as I'm comfortable with. As I mentioned, one of the ways that I've been able to find interesting work through here is I do spend at least probably an hour a day, which seems a lot, but it's kind of what it takes in business development, going through the filtered results, because sometimes people use different words to describe what they want. And so while the filtering can actually help, sometimes it's worthwhile spending some time. Obviously, you can sort for US only, which tends to be higher value work. But not exclusively. I'm pitching some work right now for someone in Lithuania, someone in the Netherlands, and it's one in the UK. And so, yeah, there is work coming from all over the place. US only typically is for, they want contractors based in the US. It's got a best match filter based on your keywords and obviously most recent. But yeah, I spend a bunch of time going through these, and I've got one set up to give you a sense of how it works. Before I do that though, I just want to very quickly go over my profile, which is something I've refined over time. This is the profiling. It's again, it's like your LinkedIn profile essentially. This is the client view. So you get a sense of how much I've earned. So like I said, I'm pretty early on my journey. So I've made about $6,000, 6 jobs. I spent 53 hours of billable time in this platform. Like any other profile, I've been able to embed video. I've got references from clients, which is good. So always be asking for those. I think the system prompts them as well. And then a series of case studies and things as well. So I've tried to build this out as much as I can.
So you've generated, let me interrupt if I can, you've generated about $100 an hour, 50 hours, $6,000.
Yeah, it varies. I'll show you the rates. I mean, this is my published rate here, 120. I started higher than that. I brought it down and found that increased my my pitch success.
Okay.
So yeah, you can fluctuate, but also you fluctuate per job. So this is an available rate. But you can vary, and I'll show you how that works in a second. It can also give you a sense of work performed as a potential buyer. These are my proposals, and I'll show you real quick, so I appreciate the clock's ticking. These are the proposals that I have currently bid. And it looks like a lot, and I'll show you how I've found some shortcuts for doing that. But essentially, it's the same type of work. Brand development scientist, I'm not really a scientist, but it's a nice name. Copywriter, buyer personas. I mean, these are the sorts of things that I do for clients. And these are bids that I made. And you might think, well, that's a huge amount of time creating all of these proposals. The reality is it's not. And that's one of the joys of working in the system, that I've been able to find shortcuts for the proposal process. And so here's an example. This is a job that I'm currently pitching for now. It says logo design. It's not logo design. What they're actually looking for is someone who wants to help with their brand identity, and logo might be a byproduct. And so in this particular job, they've come in with a fixed price. And so $5,000 per job. There are a series of questions. Sometimes people put questions into their bid, sometimes they won't. Typically, I think people are using the questions to filter out and there are a lot of folks who are kind of spamming the system. In this case, it shows the bid range because I'm paying an extra like $15 a month, so I can see that. Someone has come in at 26 grand for a $5,000 project, which seems kind of stupid. The average bid is 5.6. So you can actually get a sense of how you should be positioning yourself for the job. You can also see what the client has done before. And this is one of the tips, which is handy, is you get a sense of what they're likely to spend. If I was to click through these, I could see how they'd spent in the past. Also up here, yeah, there's more information about where the client is. They're based in the US and so on. One of the shortcuts I mentioned is I've created a series of pitches based on the type of work. And I didn't sit down and write these, and there are an awful lot of them, but these are things I've just built up over time. So as I submitted a pitch in the system, I saved it and I categorized it. And this has been really useful because it means I'm saving a lot of time in the pitch process, because I've realized the reality is these are kind of like the cover letters you put when you're applying for a job online or something. They're basically just the right words in the right place. The real skill of this system I've discovered is once you're into a bidding process or you've been invited to interview, essentially at that point, that's when you close.
Jeremy, you have 3 minutes left. Do you want to continue or open it up to questions? There was a question.
No, I'm nearly there.
Okay. So
I'll switch over in a sec. So yeah, I've got a category of these types of things. The proposal, this is my response to this guy. In this case, this person asked me to bid for the work. So I sent him a note, I answered his questions, and we're communicating. This is the communication tool that's built into the platform. And then the final bit I wanted to share is just the timekeeping, which leads to billing. So in this case, there's a little app that pops up on your screen. It takes a screen capture and you tag the work that you perform. So that's it in a nutshell. I'll end the proposal there and open up for questions as we do. So yeah, any questions, anything you'd like to hear
So
more
Steve
about
asks,
Upwork in the remaining time?
What your conversion rate is on proposals sent versus closed?
1 in 5, I think, is closing. Oh, sorry, 1 in 5 is leading to interview. When I interview, 1 in 2 is closing. So once you get through that first hurdle, I found the close rates remarkably high.
So about 10% of those you're putting in proposals on.
I can't do the math in my head, but what you said sounds good. This is why I'm in marketing.
Other questions?
It sounds good. What else we got?
Says the Bain consultant.
Says the Bain consultant. Anybody else? Question for Jeremy?
Yeah, hey, Jeremy, David. I was going to ask, I think the pitch templates are very smart. Keep that information right. reuse it, fine tune it. Are there also hashtags or categories that you're finding either people are using to find you or you're using to find them?
It doesn't give you a lot of data about how people are finding you. In fact, it gives you nothing. And so that would be one of my asks of the system at some point, to be a little smarter about what it gives you. So I'm not sure if they're coming through on the skills that I've selected, like brand consulting or B2B tech or whatever the skill is. So I'm not entirely sure. The ones that I look for and tend to have most success with are things like brand consulting, brand identity, brand strategy. And so I put those into my preferences. So they're in my profile, but they're also in my search preference. So yeah, I have been using those, but no, there's not a hashtag system as such. It's more based on, I guess, with those 10,000 skills that I mentioned before.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question, Michael.
Sure, go ahead.
So Jeremy, in that example before, it sounded like you were saying there was a fixed fee or fixed offer. Can the freelancer say post a fixed fee, or does it have to be hourly, or you go by whatever they ask for? Because I don't usually bill hourly.
When you're bidding, you have to go by what, well, actually, no, you've got a choice. You can do three things. You can either bid at an hourly rate, if that's an option, which is set by the client. You can bid at, if they're going for a fixed fee, it's either a total cost when the job is finished, or it's a series of milestones on the path to completion. So there are basically three ways, but yeah, that's defined by the client. Interestingly, I'm talking to a company now somewhere in Oklahoma, I think. And I went in on hourly rate, and now they want me to come back with a fixed cost. And so you can negotiate that before they press go and actually start the contract.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Last question. Go ahead.
How would you characterize the wins versus the losses? Are they just not qualified, or like what made the 90% not choose you versus the 10% that did choose you?
I think it's my funny accent. No, I've done a little bit of digging in that, mainly for reasons of ego. And when I've looked at the jobs, because you get a notification saying the job is closed, a lot of them, a number of them don't pick anybody. And so you can actually see it'll say 0 interviews requested. And so in that case, I feel better, because it wasn't you were bad, it's everybody's bad. Or everyone's overpriced, or whatever the reason is. You don't, like I say, you don't get much analysis. So you don't get a reason for why a job was not, why you weren't successful. So yeah, I have to assume it's the funny accent, or it's price, or the job just didn't go ahead at all. But yeah, I mean, again, I've tried to refine the process over time to get closer and closer to not spending as much time copy and pasting and stuff, and actually going for stuff that's more relevant. And yeah, I've gotten better certainly over the past, I guess, 3 or 4 months since I've been using this platform. So I've gotten to a point where I can kind of read between the lines, and I can say, okay, especially if they ask you to bid. And sorry, Mike, I'm going over slightly, but if they ask you to bid and then you look at the history, if they haven't interviewed many people, you can probably go over, if it's an hourly rate, over the amount that they've asked for, because they've been unsuccessful. And yeah, that's one way I've been able to up my fees and up my rates. So yeah, there's a range of stuff. And again, sorry, I'm out of time, but I'd be very happy if anyone has any other questions or anything like that. I'll put my LinkedIn details in the chat, and do track me down online, because I do want to share the success. And also I'd love to get feedback about this abbreviated presentation too, because like I said, I'd love to create something that could be a little passive income earner, which is about this magical world of Upwork. And then finally, it's about sharing the love, because quite frankly, I know how hard it is to generate new leads. And this has been a great source, not just of new business, but a variety of business. You know, it's not just me relying on my network. It's some person in Lithuania who needs something. It's someone in the Netherlands who needs something. It's someone in Oklahoma that's an energy company that needs something. And these are things that honestly, you could spend years in LinkedIn and not come up with these types of leads. And the final thing I'll say is they're qualified leads. And so you're not, I mean, I used to work at agencies, you take 3 months to close. These things go from posting to an interview to starting work within, I've had 24 hours. And so it's a different way of working, but it's a way where you and then 10 days later, you're making that money. So it's a very, very different way of working, but maybe this is the new way of working. I, for one, am happy with it. So yeah, any questions, anything else, send me a link. We'll catch up later.
Thank you. Absolutely. And I know you've also turned me on to a couple of other networks. I'm involved in Catalent and Business Talent Group and a couple of others that I think are generally higher value. But we could talk about that another time.
Yeah, sure thing.
So I put in the chat the order in which more or less people showed up. Bryce did ask to go last, so I put him last, even though he didn't show up last. Last time I went over a little bit, so I'm gonna do it at 2 minutes, and then if we've got extra time, we can have a little bit of back and forth. But Jason, then Steve, then David, Libby, and you can
There's
see your
nothing in
name
the
show.
chat with an order, just an
What's that?
FYI.
Yeah,
Sorry?
there's nothing in the chat, Michael. Yeah.
Nothing in the chat. Did I not hit return?
You
Hold
sent
on.
it to yourself, maybe?
No, you
No, I
whispered
sent it to
me.
Bryce.
One person in the group got it.
One person. Sorry. Thank you very much. That happens. Everyone in meeting. Okay, 2 minutes. Jason, Steve, David. Everybody sees it now, right?
Yep.
All right.
Go. All right.
Go for it. And I'm gonna go to speaker mode. So if everybody else would go on mute, so that only the speaker shows up. Thank you. Go
All
for
right.
it.
Well, Jason Kramer, founder of Cultivize, a lot of familiar faces, some new ones. So good to see everybody and meet some new people. Cultivize is a company based in New York. We help companies and agencies, and I'll talk about that in just a quick second, nurture their leads. So ultimately, we're looking for companies that are in high growth mode, that have sales teams of 2 to 20 people, that are spending north of $2,000 to $3,000 a month on inbound marketing, which we don't do. But they're not nurturing their leads. Basically, they're just spending money on marketing and they have no process, no system to qualify those leads, to bring them through a sales process, to have a sales team be organized. And that's where we step in. We're also able to look at all the inbound marketing and make sense of which marketing channels, that be webinars, trade shows, digital marketing, et cetera, is actually driving revenue. Most often marketing companies are challenged because they don't know that answer. They don't know which marketing efforts are actually bringing in the leads that are driving the revenue. So any business that you guys may know of, I would love a conversation there, see if there's an opportunity to help. We also work with agencies across the US and internationally who understand that there's more to just lead gen. There's another aspect to that, but they don't want to become a partner to HubSpot or Salesforce or any other platform out there, but they see the potential for it. So we have a program, which I'll put in the chat in a little while, where we can help agencies create passive revenue, which can earn them thousands of dollars per year per client, where we do all the work for them and we're a complete white label solution. So my ask today is if you know of any agencies that are typically north of a few $1 million in revenue, where they have clients spending a few $1,000s a month on inbound marketing, that would be a great introduction for us. And all we do is work in the platform SharpSpring. So if you're not familiar, SharpSpring is very much like HubSpot. It's about $30,000, well, about $20,000 cheaper per year than HubSpot, and is a great alternative if you don't have that budget. So again, Jason Kramer with Cultivize, and if you have any questions, feel free to message me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And yes, Steve, you're right. I put it in speaker mode, but I'm recording it, so it records my view. So the recording will be in speaker mode. Steve, then David, then Lynn. Steve, you're up.
Steve Markman, I assume, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did you say I have 20 minutes? No, I'm kidding. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Steve Markman. I run Markman Speaker Management in the Boston area with an international clientele. My main business and focus is to find speaking engagements for my clients, which are businesses of all sizes and industries, from solo practitioners up into and including Fortune 500 companies. And I'm brought in to find unpaid speaking engagements that are used as a way to boost visibility, marketing, PR, lead generation, and/or thought leadership, or all of the above. And I also have a customized advisory service where I sit down with folks who don't have the budget necessarily to hire me for a year, in which I, for 4 hours, teach them all the 30 years of my knowledge of how to get speaking engagements, the techniques, practices, tricks of the trade. We go over content, we go over how to identify speaking opportunities, and it's all a good way to get business. So that's what I do, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's my first time here. Thank you, Michael, for the invitation. Hope it's not the last time, and happy to chat with anybody about what I do, or even answer some questions. I usually give a 10 or 15 minute freebie to just let people know about the landscape of speaking, or if they have some specific questions. I'm happy to chat. You can reach me on LinkedIn or through my website and my email, etc. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask what you charge for that 4-hour teach a man to fish?
Yeah, so there's two types. When it's a solo practitioner or a company with 3 or less people, it's $1,500 for the 4 hours. If it's a company, because I also work with directors of PR and marketing directors of larger companies who are responsible for getting speaking for their companies, and those are $3,000 for one person on a one-on-one, and a sliding scale if there's multiple people.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Okay, and yes,
Yeah.
do come back, and if you're interested in joining, let me know. David, Libby, and then Lynn, then Lee.
Great, thank you, Michael. Excuse me, Steve, I'll be reaching out to you. I've been a public relations professional for 28 years. I don't do speaker management, so there you go.
I work with a lot of PR firms, Ogilvy and Weber, et cetera, so I'd love to talk to you.
That sounds great. Awesome. And I run 2 Pins. We are a marketing agency. We accelerate startups to their exits. We use public relations, content, and social to help align businesses between their marketing objectives and their business objectives. And that's it. We're 2pins.com, the number 2pinz.com. I'll drop my information on the sidebar there. Happy to help anyone out here. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Can't you brag a little bit? I love the stories about Steve Jobs and Pixar. And
Well, I figure it gets a little old because Steve is the only executive that I work with. I was recruited up to the Bay Area because I had I don't want to say a reputation, maybe not the right word, but a lot of experience working with challenging people. I worked with James Earl Jones, Shirley MacLaine. We launched Halle Berry's career down in Los Angeles. So when I was, when they were looking for someone to work with Steve Jobs, naturally they were like, oh, who likes to work with difficult people? I don't anymore. As a matter of fact, any kind of toxic client, no, thank you.
all right. So you're not hiring, what's his name, the CEO of, or you're not getting hired by the CEO of Uber, the former CEO of Uber.
No, and Elon Musk. I have a whole list.
Yeah, the black list. All right, the black turtleneck list. Okay. Let's move on. Thank you so much, David. And David also has, I think he has been successful in selling companies for $1 billion, right?
I've been part of teams that have helped companies either get acquired or IPO. What's correct? Yeah.
All right, cool.
But many of us have had that experience, right? But we specialize in helping these companies, get there faster.
Yeah, getting bought by Google and the like. Lynn, then Lee, then Andrew.
Good morning, or yes, still good morning. I apologize for any extraneous noise in the background. My name is Lynn Donaldson, and my company is Connect A Strategic Solutions Group. We work predominantly in the life science industry, so that's pharmaceutical and medical devices, and we help them launch their products so that patients can use them. We usually work with companies 3 to 4 years prior to launch, and we traditionally work with the medical affairs teams because they get the product earlier. What we do is we help them prepare the market basically for the product launch. We work on building their team, developing the strategy, and then implementing to that strategy. So we often work with companies 1 year post-launch just to help them make sure they implement. My success, as Rajiv, who's not here, always asks for, is when we worked with one company, we actually helped them increase their sales by $1.3 billion at launch because of the work that we did. And so we help companies be successful. And the reason I do it is because we work with mid-sized pharma, because when they try and do something, they want to really help the patients that need it the most. So one company we're looking at the moment is a company that helps kidney transplant patients who are hypersensitive, who often get pushed to the bottom of the list because they may not take to the transplant properly. But we're going to try and help them get to the product that helps those patients reduce their sensitivity to the transplant so that they can continue back up the list and get the transplant that they need. That's why I do what I do. It's about the patient. So thank you very much. Lynn Donaldson from Connect Strategic Solutions Group.
Thank you. I may have an intro or two for you, somebody who is the CEO of a relatively small, if that happens, pharma company. Okay. Let's see. That was Lynn, now Lee, Andrew, then Steve Guberman.
When you're swimming in a sea of millions who think, sound, act, and are alike, I highlight what makes you remarkable and compelling to those you want to serve. Let's face it, there's so much noise out there that it's almost impossible to stand out. So maybe you've tried working with a writer or an editor yourself, but you felt frustrated because it took so long, you got no profit from it, you felt disenchanted and disillusioned because you felt like that writer or editor didn't understand you, you felt like you wasted time and money and you're not sure you want to do it again. I get it. It's not easy to find someone who can understand and describe your thoughts, feelings, and passions. You want a true partner in the writing process or the editing process, one who quickly recognizes that what you do is significant, the marketing is attention grabbing, true to your vision and brand, and it converts. And that's what I do. I'm Lee Barnathan with LB Communications. My clients appreciate that they're being heard, understood, and validated. They love their story gets told their way in their voice. They get excited that the writing or editing attracts more attention than the competitions, and they love the financial rewards that come with copy that converts. I'm not saying I can do this for everyone, but if you feel gun shy because you can't find a writer or editor who, number one, understands that what you have to say is valuable, two, who writes your marketing copy to reflect your passion, and three, who earns you business, I can change your opinion of writers and editors and what they can do for you and your marketing. Similarly, if you're fed up with your own marketing materials because they don't rise to the level you need them to, I can provide a different style of writing or editing that will transform your copy. So when you're ready, let's start a new project together. Contact me. We can do one-on-ones. Let's explore how we can work together, how I can benefit you and your clients. Thank you.
Very cool. And out in Southern California, correct?
I am in Los Angeles proper. And yes, I wrote the slap.
The slap. Oh, you wrote that in there. No wonder.
That's not true. That's my current joke.
Your current joke. Yeah, no, I think that was definitely a spur of the moment kind of thing.
Oh, it was. I absolutely have nothing to do with Hollywood. I have to make that very clear. I do. That's the one industry I will steer clear of, even though I'm in LA and even though I'm a writer.
All right. All right. Thank you, Lee. And thank you for coming back. It's been a while. So let's see. Who did I say? So Andrew Schulkind, then Steve Guberman, and then Tro Taslakian. Andrew, you're up.
Thanks, Michael. And thanks, Jeremy, for a really interesting look at Upwork. It's been a long time since I've checked that out, and definitely seems like it's worth revisiting. My firm is Andigo. As I don't know, about half of you, I think, on the call know, we do websites and content marketing for B2B businesses in the $2 to $25 million range. Some exceptions to that on the larger side, but that's mostly where we work. We work with a broad range of industries, but are most passionate about working with mission-driven businesses, B Corps, and the like. So we're always open to introductions for folks in that world. Our focus on content and content marketing means that we frequently partner with folks who are on this call and others, video producers, SEO and pay-per-click professionals. Social media management is an area where we could really use some help, and even some kinds of coding, copywriting, and visual design when we're swamped. So we don't work with the smallest of small businesses because our engagements typically start at around $3,000 for content retainers and $15,000 or $20,000 for web development work. So if you have clients for whom we might be a good fit, I would love to talk to you about how we can fold our services into yours or vice versa. And of course, we'd love to meet any mission-driven business folks that you might be able to introduce us to. Thanks.
Thank you. and Andrew and I have worked together on at least one big mobile project. We should talk about the smaller stuff below your threshold because we do a lot of that as well.
Great. Okay.
Okay, so Andrew, and then who is next? Steve Guberman, then Tro, then Larry. Steve, you're up.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, everybody. Happy Hump Day. Jeremy, thanks for the great presentation. I've definitely seen Upwork from, I guess, the hiring side, but not from the provider side. So very insightful. I would like to hire Lee to give me a better elevator pitch, but here it goes. I launched a branding agency 15 years ago with the idea that I was going to make a lot more money, have a lot more time on my hands, and really hone in and do the thing that I love doing, designing things. 2 years into it, I realized I had no time. I was probably making minimum wage if I took a paycheck. And I was not doing any design work because I was managing a team and doing business development and cleaning the kitchen and everything else that is involved in owning a business. I got a coach. I joined a mastermind group, and I grew the heck up as a business owner very quickly. Became extremely profitable, built out healthy pipelines, managed my team a heck of a lot better, got a lot more time to hang out with my kids, actually took a paycheck, got health benefits, and actually became a business owner, not a job owner. I eventually sold that business, and now I work as a business coach working with creative marketing and branding agencies to help them do what I did, the latter part, not the earlier part. So I work with owners of agencies up to about 60 or 70 employees, help them understand their goals and their challenges, uncover the ones that they don't know about and help them solidify the ones that they do know about, and put a plan in place and help them attack success from their viewpoint. So looking to meet any creative digital marketing agency owners around the country. I say that because I just haven't broken outside the US yet, but I literally have clients in all four corners of the country and everywhere in between. I do one-on-one coaching work, and I run a number of mastermind groups of agency owners that meet once or twice per month and support each other in a peer-based mastermind environment. Also, as part of kind of what Michael does, we've got a massive Rolodex of anybody in the service provider area. So if anybody needs an introduction and you find yourself saying, hey, I need a copywriter, not, obviously Lee's the guy you want to go to, but you need a whatever, hit me up. I love making introductions. I would do it all day long if it would actually pay my mortgage, but it won't. So that's why I'm a coach. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, and if any of those people want to become or find out about the Trusted Referral Network, please send them the guest link, which is you'll see under events, I believe, on trustref.net. It also goes into my newsletter. Tro, Larry, then Nedra.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Michael, for the invite. It's a brilliant crowd. I'm learning already. Thank you, Jeremy, for the presentation. Well, I'm Tro Taslakian. I'm the founder of Pitched. Pitched is a platform for small businesses, much like ours, to pitch themselves, basically. All small businesses that rely on personal networking to generate leads, to meet their prospects, or to get referrals are invited on Pitched to make their elevator pitches 30 to 60 seconds, maybe a little bit more, but not too long. Video pitches that cut through all the small talk and all the let's say unnecessary time wasted in networking events. So it has elements from Upwork, from LinkedIn, from different networking platforms, but it's not a marketplace. It's just a place where small businesses pitch their services and other users look for these services and get to know these companies, get to know the owners of these companies in person. It gets really close to the personal networking experience in terms of the right tone of voice, the right elevator pitch, but without the uncomfortable situation of walking into a room of 30 people and repeating your elevator pitch over and over again to people who might or might not be interested. So I invite you to check out the platform. It's pitch.me, and hopefully you'll sign up.
Thank you. And Tro and I met, I think, via Lunch Club, correct?
Correct.
And so it's
Nice
a
conversation.
pretty interesting platform. And do you have a marketing background? Is that right?
Yes, I've been in marketing for, I was in marketing for 20 years. I worked in Publicis and Omnicom, and then I started my own digital agency. That's why, that's how I got into the networking business. I network a lot for my small digital agency, and I thought that, I always thought that there has to be a better way, a more effective, a more efficient way to network. There's a lot of wasted time and money on the networking efforts. So that's how I came up with Pitched.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Next, Larry Joseph, you are up.
Hey, Tro, here's my elevator pitch. Of all the advertising tools available to businesses, perhaps the least creatively used yet most impactful and desired by consumers are branded promotional products. Recent surveys show over 85% of customers prefer receiving useful items with your logo than getting any other form of advertising. Plus, there are over 900,000 advertising specialty items, customized wearables, and PPE products to promote your company available to choose from. I'm Larry Joseph of Takeoff Products, and I navigate my clients through the incredible power of adding targeted marketing collateral to their marketing mix. How'd I do?
Love it. Show us some toys.
I just got my latest. Well, this most of you guys have seen this one. This is one of my self-promotional products, a Rubik's Cube. And let us help you solve your branding puzzle. Is the message on one side. You can print on all sides of it. I actually just got a self-promotional flashlight, which of course I don't have here because I've been giving them out to clients. But this is another example of it, and it's a very bright light. And this one, of course, has my branding on. This one doesn't have my branding, but you know, it's not about the item. It's about finding the right mix. I also do a lot of online store sites for my clients. You know, including wearables, branded wearables and promotional products. But it's not about, hey, look at this item, isn't this great? It's really matching the message, the want of the clients and how to explain their message with the right collateral. And that's what I do.
And based in the Philly area, correct? Or
well,
Princeton?
yeah, I'm in Princeton currently,
Princeton.
a long time Philadelphia.
All right, good. Thank you, Larry.
Thanks,
all right.
guys.
Nedra from Oregon.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. I'm Nedra Rezinas. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and I really appreciate your presentation today, Jeremy. I owned a web design business for the last 16 years. I closed it down in the fall. That's the last time I looked at Upwork was through the lens of a web design agency. So I'd like to look at it from a different lens, and I'll tell you about that. So yeah, I have all this background in web design and online marketing, and over the last 5 years, I've cultivated a new role because I go to these conferences and I go to talk to people about web design, and people were like, no, we'll talk about the bigger picture of marketing, because websites are just the hub of marketing. It's like all these spokes go into the website, and I realized quickly that I could help people on a broader scale. And it wasn't until like one day I was sitting down with a friend and coaching her through email marketing. She's like, Nedra, you should be charging me for this. I'm like, yeah, I should be. So now I'm at a really great place where I can help people. And I find that I can help clients that are, usually the solo people that are, coaches, consultants. Maybe they have a few employees or a few contractors. I've been starting to work with more interior designers. But what I'm seeing is the problem is marketing is the last thing on their plate, and they've tried to do it, and they've been burned by people in our industry. And I'm not saying you guys, but just, it's been tough. It's tough. And it's tough being a marketer out there. We get a bad rap, and people think sometimes we're vultures and come after us. And so people are skeptical. And so I see that a lot of folks out there that have either been like ghosted or burned or overcharged by people in marketing, and especially web designers, and especially because I was in that industry, I understand it pretty closely. And so I can come in and help them create a custom marketing roadmap and help them learn how to delegate and hire people to help them. And it kind of almost like, it's therapeutic because they've had so much trauma around it or so much challenges to kind of re-roll this and rework it. And it's been wonderful because I've seen some successful stories. I had this one consultant who had a really embarrassing website. He was a really talented analytics guy, and you could tell that it was really crushing him not to have a professional website to help him get clients. And so through some kind of like, pulling together some ideas and giving some really good suggestions, he was open to the idea to getting a new website, and then I helped him hire an actual web designer that met his needs and really created something that was amazing and helping him land clients left and right. So it's nice to see that transformation. And I just wanted to also let you guys know I'm doing a masterclass tomorrow on the four mistakes that the simple mistakes people make as service-based owners. I'll put that in the chat. And I think it's a really great way to demonstrate my framework and how I can really help people. And I really help focus on my 3 pillars are email marketing, networking and referral partners, as well as sprinkling a little bit of social media, kind of reducing that and not having people focus on that so much. And then also just also focusing on just being able to be themselves and be out there and market themselves and not have to feel like it's like such a noisy playing field. So thanks, it's great to be here.
Thank you. And thank you for getting up early. To all of our West Coast participants. Keith Reynolds, we are down to 9 minutes. We have 4 people, so we should be able to make it. Keith, then Victor, then Bryce, and then I'll go.
Yeah, hi, I'm Keith Reynolds, and my background is in business development and as a chief marketing officer for smaller companies. About 4 years ago, I came up with an approach to help companies develop a system for their marketing geared around content. And what I've learned is that most companies find it hard to develop a strategy that they can teach their people to execute on a consistent basis. And it's very hard to come up with a formula to create content on a regular basis. And so that's what my book is about. And I published that right before the pandemic, and I'm now going out on a road show to reach through co-working spaces to take my message out to the marketplace. And I leave on Saturday. I'm going to Cincinnati, Chicago, Denver, back to New York, down to Florida, and then up to the Southeast and hit Atlanta and North and South Carolina. I have an interactive website that is all about inbound marketing and shows examples of that. And I encourage people to come and check it out. I work with Jason Kramer on putting this together. So thank you, Jason. It's even got now, and it's built on the idea that the more opportunities you give somebody to contact you, the higher the probability they are. And you can even log in through our website and join a call right now.
Wow, that's very cool.
And the point of that is it starts with research, bringing out my CMO background. All of these vectors will give you the insights to develop content. And what my book is about is a formula to bring out a content strategy and to build a content hub. And that is many, many ways to contact you. And my time is over. So thank you very much.
Thank you. There's a lot of content in those 2 minutes. All right, Victor Lee.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Michael. It's great to see such a mix of new and familiar faces. So what I do is I connect dots. So I think of everybody on this call as a dot. And what I do is spend my time looking for dots to connect you to. So for example, Andrew Schulkind, who's around here someplace, I can't spell, right? He and I worked on a project because I was in a networking group and somebody said, hey, I need a digital marketing agency. So I put them together with Michael. There's some projects I've been working with Bryce, because he's got some interesting projects. So I'm trying to find the other side. And there's another woman, I think, who's not on the call today, but who's an international trade researcher. And I met her in September. And just last week, a friend said, hey, I need somebody to do international market research. And I said my three of my favorite words, I know somebody. So we're in the process of putting that proposal together right now. So in my effort to find more dots, and obviously I'd like to get to know, the dots on this call better, the ones whom I don't know already, Rajiv, who's also a member of TRN, and I started a podcast about networking. Because I think everybody wants to be a better networker, including me, and we all rely on networking to grow our businesses. So what we do is we try to give helpful tips and tricks and advice about networking, either that I've developed myself. I have a product called the Impresario approach to cognitive networking. And if anybody's interested, I have 10 rules that I made up, and I'm happy to give the 10 rules to anybody who's interested. And we also have guests on our podcast. So the illustrious Michael Bendit, don't tell him, will be our guest in a week or so. And we spoke to him. Yeah, there he is. He's a dot. It's a green dot. Green is good because it's the color of money. And so Michael will be our guest in a couple of weeks. And so when I send you the 10 rules, I'll send you also a link to our podcast homepage so that you can be sure to tune in when Michael is talking. So the podcast is called Things I Didn't Learn at Harvard. So it's like an endless trove of information, we hope. And my time is up. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. And I just had to do that dot thing since you referred to us all as dots. And my very well organized girlfriend, who is driving the move that's happening tomorrow, has put dots on things depending on whether it's going to storage, going to our new place, staying here, or we're bringing it. Different colors. Green means it's going to our new place. All right, just briefly do my pitch. Michael Bendit, you all know me. My core business is representing software development teams. And I do sales for about 10 different teams, 10 to 12 teams. They are all independent teams. These are non-exclusive relationships. So they sell on their own, and they are, fully independent, can provide all of the they provide all of the project management, account management, et cetera. I supplement their capabilities. The reason people come to me is because they're not really sure where they can go for this particular type of resource, or even which technology to use. Or on the other hand, they may have a very specific technology that they're stuck with. Maybe it's an older technology, or they're committed to, a Shopify, which is not an old technology, but they want to find the right team. So they come to me and they say, Michael, do you have a team that does X, Y, Z? I've set myself up with these 10 to 12 teams so that I can say yes, 85% of the time. We do a lot of work in the marketing space, which is why I have this network among other networks that I'm involved in. And we partner really well with agencies, digital agencies. Somebody had mentioned, I think it might have been, can't remember who it was. Even if a digital agency has programming staff, they oftentimes run out of bandwidth. It's a high demand area, and they don't necessarily want to hire somebody to add to their staff, so they outsource. Or they come across an opportunity, a platform that they just are not familiar with, and yet they don't want to turn it down because there's other digital marketing work associated with it, be it SEO or, advertising, et cetera. So they come to me and they say, Michael, do you have somebody who works on Expression Engine? And usually, as I said, I can say yes. So love to connect with other people in the digital space. And also we do a fair amount of work for startups. So that is top of the hour. I have a lot of packing to do. Thank you all for showing up. If you haven't put your name or your LinkedIn in the chat, you can do so now. And then if you go to the chat and then click on the 3 dots on the right, the first thing that comes up is Save Chat. Also, if you met somebody here, if you want to take a screenshot so you get all their names, now would be a good time to do it. And if you met somebody here whose name you can't remember, reach out to me, or if you remember their company name and they are already a member, you can go to the website and look on their name. So thank you to our members, to people who haven't been here in a while, came back, and to our one guest, I think one guest, right? Tro, who stepped away for a minute. Steve is a guest too, right? Steve is a guest too. So thank you both, and have a wonderful Wednesday. Take care.
Thank you as always, Michael.
Absolutely.
Good luck,
Bye all.
everyone.